Mr. Ball.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Good. Welcome.
Thanks.
It's that time.
Yeah,
It's the most wonderful time of the year for Carl Ball. It's his
right.
first derby that he's running.
Yeah. I think this is the first year that I've gotten to a derby before I did this one. So I'm not starting from zero at this derby. I've actually got 6 fish on the board for SummerSlam. Usually I'm like not even had a chance to get out yet by now.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been a good year so far. Weather's been great. It looks like it's going to continue to be great. So
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
here's hoping. So battle on Buffalo Lake.
Yep.
This has been now.
Saturday.
How many years have we been running this one?
I think this is the third time in a row that I've hosted it. I think not sure if it was done once or twice before then.
I think we did maybe 2 years, and then we had COVID, and then we came back. So yeah,
Yep.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, I think the first time I went to it was 2019. 2019, and I remember it was right before I went and did the Bowron Lake circuit with Doug Ham. That was an adventure of a lifetime. If you guys are looking for an adventure, talk to Doug Ham. He's always doing something like hiking the something or other trail, or doing something that will like seriously impress itself upon your soul that you will never forget, and you will be able to look inside yourself.
Your categories.
Just kidding. We have 3.
Hey, no live bait for Buffalo, Carl.
There's an innuendo in there somewhere. Yeah.
All right.
So, wow, I went on a rabbit hole. That one. I remember sleeping in the rig that I was using for that Bowron trip. That's what made me think of that. So yeah, awesome trip. So yeah, battle on Buffalo this Saturday. You guys, I think the number one question I've seen has been, where are we staying? Where are we camping at? And the answer is, hey, Indy, the answer is Pelican Point Campground. We have the entire overflow, which is right across the street from the main campground. There's no power and water in there. I'm planning to bring a generator, so we can have some power for a bit if we need it. I was kind of on the fence about doing that, but I think I'm going to do it. I don't want to leave it running all night, though. If you guys have something real sensitive that you need power all night, I think we will lose friends if we leave that generator running all night long. So, but for just short stuff like making coffee or whatever, we'll have some power. So, if you want to make a booking or you want to see about staying an extra night, give Barry a call. He's the guy who manages the campground. His number is 780. Get a pen and pencil, boys and girls. 780-372-4022. There's you can find the info about the Pelican Point pretty quickly just practice your Google Foo a little bit. And they're pretty flexible. They'll give you an extra day or whatever. $25 per unit per night. So if you got somebody that's bringing a holiday camper and they got a couple extra beds, well, it's $25 for that trailer for the night. They don't care how many people sleep in it. So if you're bringing 3 people and they each got their own tent, each tent's going to be $25. So you guys get a bigger tent.
Got a lot of spooning.
Yeah. You guys remember, follow the code of conduct and follow the rules for this event. So you need a valid license. You need an appropriate PFD. We're going to be fishing with barbless hooks. No motors, no mother shipping, no sails, paddle, pedal, or pull only.
No.
Brayton, half a unit? No, probably not. I don't want to give you bad advice on here. I feel like I've given you bad advice already, and we're hopefully going to rectify that before this meeting is up. So play it by ear, buddy. We'll see if we can hook you up, or maybe Gord's got room in the back of his truck.
And with that, Braden, I'll bring out your lantern that you left hanging in the tree by where your hammock was at the trout derby. And I've got somebody had a shirt as well that was left down by the coffee pots. I'll be bringing out to the trout derby or to the buffalo derby from the trout derby. So,
Yeah, there was a bit of stuff left behind.
Where's out of bounds for this derby?
Out of bounds. We're all so this is another thing I've had a couple other people ask about. This is probably the second most asked thing, and I gave some people some bad advice already, so we're gonna rectify that right now. We're all launching from the same spot. Some people were asking me saying, "Well, we're staying at Rochon Sands. I want to launch or White Sands. I can't remember. We want to launch over here. Can I just check in by phone?" We're not going to do that this year, and we're going to be tightening that up. I think for most of the derbies from now on, is we're all going to launch from the same place. We need to be responsible if something happens. That was something I was about to mention is we got to check out before 6 before you go out, and we got to make sure that you check back in. The last thing I want is to get sued by somebody's estate because they went out and the wind kicked up and we didn't know they weren't back off the water and we didn't go looking for them when we could have helped them, or we, just something tragic happening. So we just check out 6 o'clock. We're all going to launch from the Pelican Point boat launch, marina boat launch. And we're all going to hopefully come back to that same spot.
Yeah, and with that, I just want to say, you guys, you can't be on the water unless we have a signed code of conduct. So if you haven't downloaded one and sent one to us, I think I've got like 5 or 6 sitting in the truck to bring out with me, paper copies. But you can go to our website, and I'll put it up here in the chat as well of where you guys can go to download that code of conduct.
So yeah, Mike would mention out of bounds. So out of bounds for this one, there's no fishing in the Narrows. So I didn't really know what that meant. I was looking on the map. I was figuring out there's an area that looks like it's a shallow kind of tributary kind of area. It's called the Narrows. We're not allowed to fish there. That is the very farthest point on the lake from where we are launching. It might be a bit to get out there. But for this one, especially if we have to dial it in for the weather or something, we like if we have to reduce the boundaries, I'm just going to say we're sticking to the main lake, the east side. There's a spot by Rochon Sands where the lake kind of narrows. Don't go past that point on Rochon Sands. Just stay to the main body of the lake, which is the east side, if you're looking at the map. So,
yeah, and with that, so basically Rochon Sands straight north. Everything east of there you can fish. Any fish that are submitted from the west side of that, we're able to see because you have to have your location set up. So any fish caught west of that line from Rochon Sands straight north, they will be denied and disqualified out of the event.
That's right. Yeah, so no fishing in the Narrows. Speaking of, well, I'll get to that. So lines up by 5. If you check out, make sure you check in. I think I said there. Don't just leave. Some people, when they're done fish, if they get skunked, they'll just leave. So you need to make sure we know you're off the water. Like I said, we might reduce the boundaries if we get poor weather. Oh, man, I don't want to say this in case I jinx it. Knock on wood. I've never seen bad weather out there for one of our tournaments. So, yeah, hopefully we get another good one again. We don't have to reduce it. I think I got rained on a little bit one time, but nothing scary in the kayak. So, dead fish. This is a CPR tourney. So dead fish cannot be counted. They can't count towards the SummerSlam either. So dead fish, what do you do if you get a dead fish? Hopefully you guys know this because you read your code of conduct. There will be a cooler. I'm going to set up a table at the boat launch. If there's late people coming in, there will be some spot to sign out or to sign the paperwork, and there'll be a cooler with some ice in it. Put the fish in there if you have a dead fish. You have to bring the dead fish in before you can resume fishing. You can't get caught with a dead fish on your boat while you're still fishing. So first thing, you get a dead fish, bring it in, put it in the cooler. We have to take it to Red Deer and submit it to Fish and Game, and then you can go back out and keep fishing. Our depth, the maximum depth we can fish on these ones is 7.5 meters or 24.5 feet. So how is a Fish and Game officer going to know how much line you have out? If you're in 30 feet of water, how are they going to know you only have 24.5 feet of line out. Well, they're not. So if you are in water that is deeper than 24 feet, then they're going to consider you fishing deeper than 24 feet. So being caught fishing deeper could DQ you from this event and all other events. So make sure you guys do your best to stay in 24 feet of water. If you don't have a fish finder, don't know the depth, how are you going to do that? Maybe look online. You got a couple days yet. Do a bath map, Google bath map for the lake. You'll see the depth ranges, or buddy up with somebody who does have a fish finder and kind of stick with them. Make sure you got to keep an eye out for that 24 feet or shallower.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm just looking right now. I think the majority of the lake, like just looking up kind of where we are there, we're probably, I think, in our deepest spot right around that 20 feet. So I don't think we really have to worry too much on buffalo.
I did want to throw it out there for this one just to get people kind of used to hearing it. But yeah, I've all the times I've ever fished this tournament or this lake, I've never seen deeper water than that or as deep as that. Anyways, so yeah. So what's the next question you guys got for me is probably what are we fishing for? So best 6 fish, 3 pike, they got to be over 63 centimeters, 1 burbot of any length, and 2 walleye that have to be over 50 centimeters. There we go. Bath map.
There,
yes, the narrows. Yeah, the narrows are the yeah.
So this is the narrows are way down over here, but what we're saying is from this point here, the high point, Rochon Sands is here. You've got this high point. So basically from this high point that you see across over to this last little opening up here, kind of straight north of there, you're not going to go. So you've got a lot of water to fish over here. I think for the majority of the events, most guys usually end up just hanging around this area in here. Some have gone up into this little bay, but a lot of us usually always seem to hang out kind of right around this end of the lake anyways. So, but just remember, no narrows. And from that point just west of Rochon Sands, straight across. So I guess it is probably easiest just to say if you're at the tip up here, from this little tip of they call it point 13, this tip of this little inlet going into this bay, down to the tip there, make that our line. You can't fish west of that imaginary line there.
Yep. So that's basically the main lake. That's a heck of a lot of territory. I think you'd only paddle around that little island on the top right, like maybe 4 or 5 times in the day. So before you run out of time, so it could take you all day to get farther than that and get back. So
yeah.
So yeah, we talk about dead fish, talk about the depth, we talk about the fish. So 3 pike, 1 burbot, 2 walleye. Those are 6 fish. The Fishing Chaos app is what we're using to submit our fish pictures. Hopefully everybody's familiar with the Fishing Chaos app so far. Couple things with the taking your photo. The fish has to have a closed mouth and it has to be up against the fence or the end of the board, the 0 point. No lip grips, nothing holding the fish's mouth open. Open mouth or not against the board is usually a 2-inch penalty, right? Yeah, 2-inch penalty, and you want it to be left to right. So head on the left, tail on the right. We want as clear a picture as we can. Your tag with your ID code has to be in the pic. We haven't launched the ID code yet, so don't ask me what it is because I don't know. The wrap-up barbecue prizes all going to be after about 5:30 at the Overflow Campground. And the thing we were talking about last night, do we want to roll straight into that, or do you want to?
We'll finish
by 5. That's right.
Yeah. Lines out by 5. So we kind of like to say to people, be at the boat launch or really close to the boat launch by 5.
Yeah, 5:30. I'm okay with. I would personally. Yeah. I'd like to.
Yeah,
we
it's not
don't
so
have
much.
open mouth rule in.
It's not so much the open mouth. You can have the mouth can be open. If the mouth's open, you're going to lose. You're going to dock yourself. But if your fish doesn't start right at the board because you put it up against the board with its mouth closed, and then it opened its mouth and came off the board, if it's not touching that zero, you will get you will get hit for that. So it's not so much that it has to be a closed mouth, but you're going to want to make sure that if the mouth is open, that open mouth is pressed against the board, because if it was a closed mouth and opens the mouth and slides back from the board as a result of it, you will get a penalty because your fish wasn't started right at the start of the zero mark.
There you go. So yeah, my mistake, you guys. I went and played with some Americans last year, and they're very sticky on the closed mouth thing. So that's where I'm getting the closed mouth thing from. So yeah, Curtis. No, I guess you didn't miss it. Do you want to talk about bump boards quickly?
Yeah. Okay. So for bump boards, just so everybody knows, in the rules, so if you've got a bump board that's an expandable bump board that expands out, where the boards meet, you have to make a clearly defined black mark. The fish cannot be retained in any other fashion than your hand, or if it's big enough fish that you're putting a foot on top of it type thing. So Carl's got one here that's got a plastic cover over it. Something like that gets the unfair advantage, because with that, a fish can't jump out of that. So if Carl's got a fish like in that one, let's say, it can flop around all at once. All Carl has to do is have that on an angle. That fish is going nowhere. So with that, you can't have anything over top of the fish. So you can have a 3-sided board. So the two sides and the bottom, but there can't be anything over top of the fish. So whether it's a piece of plastic, or it's straps to hold the fish down, or cages, or whatever you do, there can't be anything over top of the fish that restrict its ability from flopping off the board, because that's creating giving you an unfair advantage over other anglers.
Yeah, so that was I believe that wasn't in the rules last year, and we clarified it this year. And then people like me, I just rolled on with it and didn't make that correction. From having played with the bass guys down in Kansas the other year, they weren't letting me submit any pictures that were through that clear plastic. So if I put a fish on here and was getting ready to take it, I had to hold those flaps open. So I know there's not that many of you guys that had something like this out there. I know there's one guy who's watching, but yeah, sorry, we gotta take those plastic things off. We can't entrap the fish or cover up the fish with anything. So there you go. It's not that hard to modify it if you got a board like this. Now it's happy legal.
Yeah, and with that, it you just can't have it on the board, period. It can't be that it's out of the way for the pitcher, because you're still able to retain that fish. If you need the time to get your camera, get everything ready, leave the fish in the net until you have everything ready to go. So I know in KBC uses catch boards. There has been talk about us going to one or two standard boards. A lot of us have the WCKFT boards, so obviously we'd be accepting those. The catch, the hog trough, those kind of things. You know, I can foresee, as we keep getting bigger and bigger, that we'll probably eventually have to look at getting rid of homemade boards, or boards that fold up in a way that you can shorten it, because it's a 2-piece with a hinge, and if you don't set it right, you're going to gain a half an inch or something like that. But for right now, the only thing that we ask is that there's nothing on your board to secure the fish down at all.
So yeah, Randy, just when you mentioned the catch boards, I actually have a catch board, and I had it bolted to this guy. The only thing about the catch board is the plastic ones, the affordable ones, I should call it that, only go up to 32 inches, because most of the Americans are fishing for bass. So on a good day of pike fishing, it's just not a catch board, unless you go for the all out for the massive aluminum ones, which I don't know, they seem expensive to me to risk dropping overboard. So I did have a 32-inch catchboard bolted to this guy, and then I could still deploy the other part. But yeah, I still had the plastic. I just had to open the plastic. Yeah, exactly. I feel your pain. I had to open those flaps, but we are saying we can't even have those flaps not for use at all. So you guys showed you I cut mine off. So
yep. Yeah, and I can even say Broden called me out on one of my pike that I submitted because it's got my tag around it, and it's like, well, that's on the board, and I lifted it up, and take it from me, start planning ahead. I got a 37-inch pike, and I went to put it on the board, realized I didn't have my armband in the picture. So I slid my armband down my arm and then put it on the pike. So my pike was actually wearing my armband. I snapped the picture and I started putting it in the water and saw this flash of white and went, holy crap, that's my armband. So yeah, make sure you don't pull that one either and put it on top of the fish and then let the fish go and swim away with your armband, because that sucks as well. But yeah, so no possible no possible restrainment of the fish that is not a human hand. If you need lessons, hook up with Broden. Broden can show you the handy dandy foot maneuver to hold your giant pike down with your toes. It works great.
Yeah, musky bumpers are a good alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of things out there. I really like a pike name like, yeah, I really like that we kind of allow or still allow some kind of homemade bump boards, because the way I like to use mine is I put a handle on them all, and then I put it in my rod holder behind me. So kind of behind me on one side is my net, on the other side is my bump board. So I started using a little 18-inch or 16-inch hog trough just between my legs for smaller fish, and I'm kind of liking that. So I had to figure out a way to stick my card onto it. I just used a little hinge. But you guys, if you want something to stick onto the side of your board or onto your kayak or whatever, if you're starting to kind of develop a method, just come see me at the event. I've got some two-sided, like some sticky backed Velcro. If you guys want to use some Velcro to stick your cards down somewhere so that it'll be in your photos all the time. The other thing I'm going to try and remember is, well, I've usually got a Sharpie, but I noticed my Sharpie at the last event seemed to be having a little trouble writing. But can you guys, Mike, will that work for our, can we see those right enough?
Yeah. Here, let me hide my video and people can see yours a little better.
I just want to make sure that before I tell everyone to do this, that we'll be able to see it in our photos, hopefully. So I have a little label printer, and I just printed the codes and kind of stuck them on there. And then same with my name down there, so you guys aren't trying to decipher my chicken scratch handwriting. And
yeah, no, that looks good.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll try and remember to bring the little label maker as well, if anybody wants to do that. So
yeah, and with that, we will have cards as well as armbands there. So Friday night, we'll see a bunch of people out there. We're going to keep this short and sweet. We're going to have another meeting on Sunday night and just kind of do a wrap up of what's been going on so far this year with all of the tournaments and stuff like that. So Sunday night at 7, we'll do another little thing, but we'll keep this short and sweet. This is a captain's meeting, so this is going to be our new format. The captain's meetings will be just that, just a captain's meeting about the events, and then we're going to move on. So for everybody coming out to Buffalo, if you haven't already, register on the app and then send your $50 registration fee for the event to westcankayaktrail@gmail.com. We will mark it all down, and we will see you guys there Friday night or Saturday morning when you roll in, and hopefully we have some great fishing. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And yeah, we're looking like we've got 23, 24, 25, somewhere in there coming out to fish Buffalo. So it's going to be a fun battle out there. Should be interesting.
If we can make 35, I think we'll be able to get us on the podcast again. I'll post something to those guys and see if they mention us again on their Paddle and Fin podcast.
I think we just start sending them stuff every day.
Yeah.
Forget it. Let's see. Yeah. We'll send them stuff on every event. But anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you guys all either Friday night or Saturday on the morning. And for everybody that's driving, drive safe. We can't wait to see you there and hang out again for another great event. Curtis, what's available for camping? It's at the Pelican Point Overflow again, where it's always been. If you scroll up through the comments, I've put a pin where it is, and also put Barry's phone number and name in there, so you can find all of the camping information in there. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you out there.